All right, y'all, we are officially back. It is Thursday. It's crazy how fast these weeks are flying by, but you guys are in the place to be. This is the Locker Room Show, and every single Thursday, you guys, we bring them hard-hitting topics. We talk about the things that matter most to you young football players, you parents, you coaches out there. We just don't talk about it, you guys. We actually bring in the dogs from the industry, the people that already know everything that you need to know so that you can get to the next level. We're not talking armchair quarterbacks. We're talking people who lived it. Tonight's no different. So let me introduce my very, very own homeboy that holds me down on the other side of the corner, the one from the Lou, the one you guys know as Q, the guru. What's going on, Q?
What's going on, Coach? What's going on, man? Hey, it's almost time to strap it up, man. It's that time, ain't it? It's that time.
It's that time.
It's that quick.
It seems like we were just watching the Super Bowl, you know, with the Chiefs and the Eagles.
It's like last week. The summer's a blur. That's why the off season is so important. That's why it's so important to stay out of trouble and get this work in, because by the time you get through spring ball, man, it's time to strap it up again, man. We got some hot topics for you, man. We're going to get into. Let's break the huddle. Man.
So, hey, let's break the huddle like Q said. And sorry for keeping you waiting. We wanted to make sure everything was good on the back end, but we got another banger for you guys tonight. And the gentleman that you see in the middle of the screen, man, this is somebody I've known since I was a young pup, a teenager. Unfortunately, he was chasing me at the time, and he was a dog in the Bay Area. Defensive lineman, St. Francis High School, stand up, and then went on, you guys, to play in the WAC Conference, now known as the Mountain West, was a beast for Fresno State, and then had a chance to play in the NFL as well and bounced around to a couple teams, but always bringing great knowledge on social media, and he's got some good stuff to share with you tonight. That's none other than the great Nicholas Burley. What's going on, boss man?
Hey, appreciate you fellas, man, for having me on. I appreciate this opportunity and can't wait to get this great segment going. You know, college football season around the corner, so let's make it happen.
Man.
Let's make it happen. So, you guys, let's get into it. I mean, once again, we got an amazing guest every single Thursday. We're bringing in the best of the best. Like I said, people who have lived it, and Nick is no different. So I want to get right into it, man. Our first topic, and for those that are joining us for the first time, everything that we're going to speak about tonight is right down there on the bottom ticker. And once again, we want to cover the things that matter to you guys. I see some of our favorites in here. The great Jimmy Rucker says, yes, today's players are so. We're going to get into that, Jimmy. Hold on, Jimmy. Hold on.
Jimmy, right.
And then the great Coach Falls says, we're ready in Alabama. So we love you, Coach Falls, and I know you've been on the road, so thank you for joining us. So once again, let's get into it. I mean, Nick, you've accomplished much more than most. Amazing career at Fresno State. I was at Colorado. Seemed like every time I looked up, you were making plays. Had a chance to play in the NFL as well. When you really sit back, man, and you think about the journey you've traveled, give me maybe three key factors that you think were pivotal for you. Was it school? Was it a coach? Was it a parent or a friend? What are three things that you could give me that you feel really got you over the top in football?
I think for one, like we mentioned before, it's beginning in high school. And towards the end, I was a later recruitment because my GPA was kind of poor coming out of St. Francis. I had like a 2.2, and I had to get, I believe, close to 1,000 on the SAT. So a lot of the colleges were kind of hesitant as to was I going to be eligible or not. And so once I became eligible, Fresno State stood behind me, and just having perspective on what your actual goal is, on how you want to play and how you want to make an impact. And I was told I had about 5 years of athletic scholarship available. So I knew within that 5-year range that I was going to potentially be somebody of a household name or somebody that can make an impact and potentially see myself going to the next level. So it was never an immediate venture for me. I mean, now we have a different mindset as to what's the best avenue and what's the quickest way that I can get to my ultimate goal. But for me, I knew I had a 5-year plan, so I had to be consistent and stay with the goal and not get deterred as opposed to what we're looking at now. How can I put myself in position to make the quickest route? And the quickest route doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best route. There may be some derailment, but just have that mindset of the longevity and use that 5-year window to become better.
So kind of the mindset to have the vision of setting a 5-year window or a track for yourself, a blueprint that was able to help you stay focused.
Absolutely.
Okay, definitely. So you young athletes out there, some of you guys are thinking maybe too far down the road. Some of you guys aren't thinking far enough. How do you feel like the school played into it? St. Francis, I know that's a parochial school, private school for those that are listening that don't know. Do you think that was critical as far as exposure or being ready academically?
Academic, definitely. I was a fish out of water. I came from the inner city of my first graduating year for that class, and entering into St. Francis was a rigorous academic power, and I had to make some adjusting as far as getting to know, the academic requirements for student athletes. And so it took me a minute to get the atmosphere, get the culture, and learn what it took to be a successful student athlete. And so once I entered into Fresno State, I hit the ground running. So it was a lot easier because I had that initial struggle at first, and it allowed me understanding of how to utilize my time management. And so once I was able to grasp being an athlete student in college, it made it a lot easier as opposed to some of my other counterparts that, somewhat struggled initially because of that time gap and understanding time management. But once I left St. Francis, entered to Fresno, it was hit the ground running.
Gotcha.
Okay, no, great feedback right there. And we're on to our next topic. And thank you guys for joining us live. I actually see my mother-in-law checking in, Victoria Jones, and I know you had your surgery, so glad to see you punching. She's swinging and back and feeling good. So thank you, Mama, for joining us. So getting on to our next topic, you guys, and this one is obviously something that we've been talking about behind the curtains. I mean, this is groundbreaking, man. 100-year-old conference that we're talking about is no longer going to exist after this year. The 2023-24 season is going to be the end of the Pac-12, known as the Pac-10 for some, Pac-5, Pac-8. But you guys know the conference, USC, UCLA, Washington State, a bunch of big dogs. And this is a blow. Big 10 and Pac and Big 12 kind of scalping the league. So I want to throw this one to you, Q. When you look at this debacle, man, are you just thinking that this is, hey, the way business is done? Or are you really thinking that this is transformational, man? You got kids going from LA to going to New York playing Rutgers. Like, what's your thoughts on this, Guru?
I mean, it a lot of times, the same as the SEC kind of kicked all this off, and obviously it has to do with money. It's got to do with, exposure. I feel bad for the commissioner of the Big 12. I have no idea how the ball was dropped, but somebody definitely dropped the ball. And I think we all kind of had an idea. When we saw USC leave, we knew that when Oregon was looking like, oh, hell, okay, well, Oregon and USC, Oregon and USC, they were the staples of the whole entire conference anyway. So once USC stepped up and left, I knew Oregon couldn't be far behind. It was going to be really slight in chances that the whole conference was going to survive. And it was perfect. Perfect timing for the Big 12 and the Big 10. I would do the same thing. You take exactly who you want, and the stragglers, I salute y'all, but good luck. Get in where you fit in.
Talk to me, Nick. I mean, you're a West Coast kid. Obviously, you and I growing up in California, we were looking at the Pac-12 as a possible resting spot, man. And now the league does not exist, or it will not exist after this year. What's your feelings on this and how this was handled?
I think from looking from the outside perspective, we're kind of not privy to the entirety of these discussions. And I think like the NFL owners meetings, they have those meetings every year. And so I'm assuming the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, all the major conferences have these meetings prior, and they're discussing, okay, how are we going to allocate this money? What does college football look like in its entirety? And the individuals who hold the most power, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12, they were like, hey, you know what? This is what we're deciding to do. This is where the bulk of the money and the revenue comes from TV ads. And there are some major powers on the West Coast that unfortunately saw themselves as a top perennial powerhouse. And so they say, hey, how can we align ourselves with our brand and continue to grow the game of college football and not lose out? You know, because you see USC left and Oregon, and those are the staples of the Pac-10 or Pac-12 as we know it now. And so everybody else has to get in how they fit in, you know, schedule non-conference games or join additional conferences that are up and coming, like the Mountain West is up and coming. And so it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what these other teams decide to do, and if this venture is going to be as competitive as it once was with the regular society. So,
right.
No, that's a good point. Go ahead.
I think I was about to say, Coach, I think it'll be more. I mean, I was looking actually at a map of the Mountain West, and be it that they're gaining, who are they gaining? Cal, they're gaining Stanford. But
possibly the ACC or Mountain West, would be Oregon State, Washington, Cal, and Stanford are the
which are great pickups. Those are all strong programs. But
those programs have a chance to be at the top of that conference if they have a chance to be. But financially, they're going to take a big hit,
and exposure they're going to take a big hit as well. Because in regards to nationally televised games outside of the West Coast, which is, and that could come into play if you're a 4 or 5 star kid. I need to be seen. These kids are like that.
But talk to me a little bit though, Q, about being an athlete that signed with Oregon State, that signed with Washington State, Nick, and I'm thinking I'm gonna play in the Pac-12, and maybe I could have went to the Big 12 out of high school, and now you telling me I'm gonna play in the Mountain West, or in the Big Sky,
and that's what I mean. That's what I was just saying. If you're a 4 or 5 star kid, that's a problem. That's a major problem. Because a lot of this NIL situation has to do with exposure. And if you're in a conference that's that doesn't have that SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10 type of exposure, that might sway. Plus the fact too, as we were saying, T, it's a lot harder on these coaches because now it's wide open. It's all the way wide open now as far as recruiting.
Well, and this is going to be a case study. We're not going to stay on this topic too long, but obviously, you guys, we're going to continue to bring this up because this affects some of you young athletes out there. But for two, there's so many layers to this. What if I'm the parent that's got a kid at UCLA? Now my kid has to go play Penn State and travel in the middle of the week. He's got to travel earlier, come back later. He's got to go to Rutgers in New York. So, we didn't sign up for that. Initially, we were thinking, I was checking this out, you guys. I looked at the USC schedule, and out of 12 games, this is this year in the Pac-12, out of 12 games, 7 of their games are in California this year. Because you're playing all your home games, and then you're going to play Cal or UCLA. So 7 of their home games are in California. That's a lot easier if I'm a California kid from my family, and then I know the other games are probably in the Western region, than us going to play Illinois. So, or some other school. So great point that you guys are bringing up. And Big Jimmy says recruiting in the transfer portal will be interesting with these super conferences. We may be moving to 2 conferences just like the NFL, AFC, NFC. So we'll get on to our next topic, you guys, and we'll continue to dive into that one because that affects some of our players. Here is the one that Jimmy jumped into the locker room ready to talk about. And we've got some news, you guys, and this is a little close to home because those that know me, Coach Wood, I actually played for Coach Bieniemy when he was a coach at Colorado. But the Commanders, the Commanders are saying, hold on, Coach, We know you won a Super Bowl. We know you played in the Super Bowl. We know that you won a national championship. But practice is a little too tough. Practice is a little too tough. Talk to me, Nick. We'll start off with you. You had a cup of tea in the NFL, man. Did you ever go to the coaches that were in the NFL and say, hey, can you tell this coach to tone it down a little bit? What's your feelings on the players talking behind Bieniemy's back?
Right. I feel that Bieniemy's approach kind of resembles the new wave of who can make the biggest splash. I remember Steve Spurrier did it with his run and shoot offense when he came from Florida to the NFL, and people quite didn't understand it, didn't like it, and Bieniemy's no different. I mean, he's an individual with a different mindset and different mentality as far as how to establish and how to maintain that competitive edge. And, whatever team gets it first, I mean, it's a copycat league. And so if Bieniemy's idea of having more of a contact, influential practice pays off, then other coaches are going to align with it. But I remember my first year in Tennessee, we were going at it. Prior to practice, we had the individuals who were free agents that were trying out for the team, and we were full on
banging,
competing, banging, making before practice started.
Right.
In addition to more banging. So I think because the NFL, they are a little bit older now, the players' longevity, and they're starting to figure out injuries and prevention or headaches or post-career concussions. How can I prolong my window of making money that can reduce injury, plus still put a competitive product on the field? And whatever team comes out with a bang initially, I would give them a competitive edge because they are being more physical initially. So when that first couple of games of the season, you might see a difference in their approach and how they're dominating teams. That's just my perspective, because we have went away from the competitiveness within practice and how often you actually are physical. So it's going to be interesting to see, what transpires from this. But Bieniemy is straightforward. This is what it is. Players are going to gripe and grumble, but for the most part, people know how to fall in line. And the other individuals who don't, then we'll see how it unfolds later.
This is a good one, Q, and I want to bring this up to you, and I kind of want to bring it up to you from two different standpoints. One, do you think that players today are different? There's obviously different rules to protect them, and then there's a lot more smarter people around these kids. So do you think it's just, hey, we need to practice a little safer or a little easier to be safe, or do you think that players are a little softer today? And then my second part of that is, if you're a kid in college maybe, or a kid in high school, and it is a little excessive, how do you think's the best way to go about that?
Well, to answer your first question, I won't say use the word soft, but I feel like that today's athlete is obviously, on average, just super gifted, ultra athletic, but I feel like that they are harder to coach in a lot of ways. The coaching methods, like a Bill Parcells couldn't coach in this era. You see, or a Marty Schottenheimer. They wouldn't know how to deal, because a lot of times these guys, they're too emotionally delicate. Okay, super talented, but they're too emotionally delicate to be able to be coached in that fashion, right? And Coach Bieniemy is from that era. He's cut from that cloth, and he's coming in to this new organization, and he's like, well, this is my point of coaching this way. We're the Chiefs, and that's why you're the Commanders. And when you look at your respective records, that's why. That's exactly why. That's why we coach that way, because we win.
So if Q the Guru is Ron Rivera, do I have a problem with the player coming to me, or do I have a problem with Bieniemy?
No, absolutely not. You brought Coach Bieniemy there to win, and he's a proven winner. So you let him do it his way, because he doesn't need to prove anything. He's already got the hardware. He's already proven that. You brought him to that organization so you can get your own hardware with your own team. That's why Tyreek is vouching for him. That's exactly why. You wouldn't hear that, especially from a marquee player like that. So no, if I'm Coach Rivera, it's no way. I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna send you right back out of my office. Right. And don't try to go over me. Don't have your agent call the front office. This is how we do it now because we're here to win.
All right. Well, Coach Fall says Jimmy's keeping it real, and Jimmy's saying they soft. He's coming to this show ready to talk about it. He said they got professional flag football. Seems a little soft to Big Jimmy. So we're gonna go on to the next topic. And youngins, we ain't talking to nobody specifically, and the rules are better and different. You know, guys are being protected. So absolutely. You know, a lot of it is just the change of the game. We are on to our next topic, and this one is a real good one, especially because we're getting back to school, you guys. We're getting back to football season. That college life starts to kicking up, and you win a couple games, and now you're feeling like the big man on campus. So I want to talk to you guys. We got the great Saquon Barkley. Obviously, he gets what he wants in Happy Valley. And then we got the big-time Jim Manziel, who's got the Netflix special.
We'll get to that next week.
Yeah, we'll get to that next week.
For sure.
But, let me ask you, Big Nick. You know, Fresno, a lot of people that might be watching might not know that the boys party a little bit in Fresno. This is the locker room. Be honest, man. How much partying during the season? We're about to go into a brand new season. These guys got dreams and aspirations. What's your advice? What's your tips? Did you party a lot during the season? Did you manage it? What's your feelings?
I mean, we partied, we hung out because Fresno was in its isolated location. It was a little smaller than some of the other schools that are in different parts of the country, different parts of the economic system. Fresno had its own unique party structure, but during the season, you really don't have that much time because you're allocated to your craft. You're working out 5 a.m. in the morning, and you probably don't get done until 7 or 8 at night, and then you still have to study. Right. So throughout the week, you may have individuals who may have 2 or 3 classes and may have that additional time the next morning. So if they do decide to go out party, they have a little bit more leeway to get ready for the next day. But for the most part, if you're in season, it's going to be really hard to actually enjoy and be a part of the college experience if you're a student athlete, because there's so much time dedicated to the actual sport. In school, there's really not much time, but the individuals who do find time, they also find time to get exposed. And then with that exposure, how can you be successful and still minimize the impact of your off-the-field endeavors and not have the effect in the classroom and on the field success?
Now, that's a great point right there. And then obviously some of these kids have a lot more pressure on them depending on the level that they're playing at. Q, talk to me. I mean, I know what I did in Boulder, Colorado, and what my teammates did. In Kansas, you played in the Big 12, man, Power 5 conference. You know, what's your advice to these young kids? You know, some of them are they're like, hey, I got to have a social life. What's your advice as far as in-game, in-season social life?
I mean, for one, do me a favor, T. Go back to the picture. Go back to no, not that one. Go. I'm making a point here. Not that one with Saquon. That one right there. You see that picture right there? Looks like a pool party. If you're not my teammate, everybody in that picture signing a waiver. Right. And I'm dead serious. Everybody in that picture right there is signing a waiver because, especially in regards to the opposite sex and especially in regards to football and basketball players, specifically at major universities, you're a magnet naturally. So it's one of those things where socially.
So you're feeling like they're vulnerable if they don't.
Oh, 100%. You have to protect yourself because you can be in situations because your name is thrown around just because someone is in your presence. That's how crucial it is. That's how crucial. So you're 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. Of course you're going to party. Of course you're going to have a social life. But you have to protect yourself. And then on the flip side of the coin, it's ways of having a social life and using it to your benefit as well. you know, in regards to NIL opportunities opening up, you know, your circle, you know, with relationships as well. But you have to be careful for sure, because social media.
Are you in favor of social media during the season, or are you in favor of the athletes being restricted?
I mean, no, I'm in favor of it. I mean, I told you the other day, I was looking at a clip of Colorado. If you guys want to take a look, YouTube, Colorado, they have their IG tag names on the back of their practice jerseys. So all about social media. CU for sure. You know, it surprised me, but it was super cool, right? But it could be a tool, but it could be the social death of you too. It's a double-edged sword, man. You have to be mindful of that.
All right, so there you guys go, and that's why we bring up these topics, you guys, because we want to bring up the things that you guys are living. Whether you're watching this recorded, whether you're a parent, if you're watching this live, you know, we want you to be able to practically use some of the things that you're hearing from people who have lived it, and not have to go the wrong route. So good advice right there, you guys. We're on to our next topic, and bless you, Nick. If you're joining us for the first time, once again, I'm Coach Wood, Q the Guru on the right, and we got the great Nick Burley, Fresno State star, ripped it up, and then played in the NFL as well. This next topic, you guys, I thought was great, and Q, you passed this along during the week, but obviously teams will play around a little bit during training camp and preseason, and the Titans are doing something cool. Mike Vrabel is giving one of his black assistants, one of his minority assistants, the opportunity to be the head coach, you guys, in the preseason game. He literally took a step back the whole week during practice and let him run the ship, and obviously gave his advice. But this coach, Terrell Williams, who has a lot of tenure in the NFL, was running the ship. So obviously you played at this level. You know what it's about, Nick. Talk to me, man, on two different fronts. One, do you think that it's a responsibility of non-minority coaches to help out a little bit, or is it every man fit for themselves? And then two, if you're a player and you're not getting the head coach and you're getting the assistant, are you feeling like your opportunity is jeopardized a little bit?
Man, this is a good question, and I applaud the Titans for taking this step. I think, like, for minority coaches, there kind of is like a glass ceiling that's never really talked about as far as different positions and that you find yourself in, and you're having to jump from team to team. And are other agencies or other organizations willing to take that chance on you to see what you can do? And this is an opportunity for an open internship that they're taking the initiative on, and let's see what our guys can do. Ultimately, because the more you can do as a coach, the more valuable you are, the more success the branches go out. And if we're only allowing certain individuals to climb that corporate ladder, and you don't really get to see the success that you have right alongside of you, then we do each other a disservice. And so I really appreciate to see this, and it's going to be interesting to see where this goes, see what other teams follow suit. But what other options do you have to promote if you don't ever promote from within? You know, you can always go reach out and plug from someone else, but if you have a guy that's been your DB assistant for 12 years and has aspirations of being a defensive coordinator, a general manager, well, let's see what they can do during the season. Trial by fire.
Yeah.
Here it is. You've already proven what you can do at this other positional setting. I need more of you. And if this is a way to get more of you and to get more exposure, then here it is. But and for the next side, I was like, hey, I think we have an ability to connect with each other. And there's a responsibility that the minority coaches have to see this next generation move forward and continue to grow and look for opportunities that not just only provide financially for your family, but there's also leeway for personal growth within the organization, and not just allow you to be stagnant and be somewhere for 12 years, and then that's where you are. And then that's how you culminate your career. It's like, hey, I was an NFL coach or a college coach for 15 years, but that's all I did. Yeah. I didn't learn anything else. I didn't do anything else. I wasn't asked to do anything. And so if you get in position request that and out of your guys and say, hey, you know what? Can we implement this into our whole organizational structure? That way we all grow.
Great point right there. Can you talk to me? Do you think that, I mean, this is competitive coaching, man. You might only get one shot as a coach, and you need every minute to be optimized. Are you giving a minute to somebody that, you know, is trying to get a hand up, or are you like, hey, you got to fend for yourself? I already put you on the staff. I'm not going to put you as the head coach.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but you have to think the more head coaches you have, you know, that are prolific head coaches, that it's gonna make the league, your conference and your league, that more competitive, and that's a good thing. You're getting more out of your players, which means more butts in the seats, which means more money for the owners, and so on and so forth. Big ups to Mike Vrabel. This is not common practice, but definitely big ups to Mike Vrabel, because he gets it. You understand what you're saying? I mean, you have to be honest. I mean, you're looking at at least a 75, 80% African-American, you know, league as far as players wise, and Mike Vrabel gets it. It's one of those things where maybe his actions will trickle down and other coaches will see that. Other GMs will see, well, hey, you know what? We do need to make a push. I mean, we were just talking about Coach Bieniemy, you know, earlier, and everybody still knows, as good as a coordinator he is, he should be a head coach somewhere. You know, now for whatever reasons he's not, that might be behind the curtain. But the fact is, it's going off of what we've seen for performance, he should be a head coach. So, you know, it's one of those things where I love what Mike Vrabel's doing. I wish this coach the best. I hope that he, you know, does perform up to the level that he's you know, looking to be. And, you know, and we see more Coach Tomlins in the future.
Right.
No, that's a great point right there. And then Jimmy says that this coach, Mike Vrabel, is becoming a fan favorite like Mike Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, you guys, this is a head coach saying, hey, I see a minority coach that needs some exposure, that is a great coach. I'm going to step back in the preseason and let him coach. So that is a big-time move, because you guys know every minute is crucial when you get your team ready for the season. So that's a big one. Shouts out to Mike Vrabel. So we're on to our next topic, you guys, and that is the lightning round. And you guys who have been with us know what the lightning round is all about. A fan favorite portion of the show, and it's our opportunity to see what our guest is thinking. You know, we got the big Nick Burley with us, and we're going to ask him a little Q&A. He's got 60 seconds. Now, this is unfiltered, and you already know we're live. So hopefully he's going to keep it PG-13 and not get us in any trouble. But Nick is going to let us know. And I got a pretty good list because I know Nick. So you ready to go, big dog?
Man, let's make it happen. The lightning round. Let's make it lightning.
All right, the lightning round. So, hey, and we don't just do this for fun. Actually, Nick is in the Bay Area. I'm in the Bay Area. So, Nick, if you can get to 15 or more in the 16 seconds answer, then it's lunch on me next time I see you, brother. Okay?
No problem.
All right. Now, now St. Francis is in Palo Alto, you guys. That's nestled right by Stanford. So this ain't gonna be a Palo Alto Stanford.
No, Mountain View.
This is gonna be Mountain View. This over there by where the good folks stay. This ain't gonna be one of them Mountain View lunches. But I got you covered, brother. I got you covered. All right. So let's get that shopping. Let's get the stopwatch ready. We right there at 0. So I'm not cheating, Big Nick. And once again, 60 seconds. 60 seconds to tell us what's on his mind. So the first thing that's on your mind when I say it, all right? We got some either or and all of that ready for you. All right. Number 1. You get 1 for tech delay. So even if you get to 14, you're good to go. So number 1. Number 1. St. Francis High School. Go.
St. Francis High School, Mountain View, California. St. Francis Lance.
Lawrence Taylor.
New York Giants.
Chicken fettuccine or spaghetti and meatballs?
Spaghetti and meatballs all the way.
Janet Jackson or Sade?
Oh, Sade.
Best player you ever played against?
Michael Vick.
Antonio Brown.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Salty grits or sweet grits?
Salty grits.
Favorite Bay Area restaurant?
El Grelense.
Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith? He's rolling.
Oh, Barry Sanders.
Reggie Wright or Bruce Smith?
Reggie White.
LA or New York?
LA. West Coast guy.
Favorite birthday cake? Time.
Woo!
All right. Let's add them up.
He's close.
All right, then we're going to revisit a couple of these. We're going to revisit. So this is the fan favorite segment. So, all right, we got St. Francis High. We got 1. We got Lawrence Taylor. We're going Spaghetti Meatballs 3. We got Sade with the 4. We got Best Player Michael Vick with the 5. Antonio Brown with the 6. Salty Grits with the 7. Favorite Bay Area restaurant with the 8. Barry Sanders with the 9. Reggie Wright with the 10. LA with 11. And then 12 with the tech delay bonus. 10. So you got 12. Yeah. That was good. Right there. Yeah. And that was hard. It's harder than people think right there. So let's revisit a couple of these. Obviously, we got the great LT. He said he's going with the spaghetti and meatballs over the chicken fettuccine. He's going with the Sade over the Janet Jackson.
Surprising.
Some people may go back and forth on that one. And then best player, you said Mike Vick, huh?
Yeah, Mike Vick was outstanding, man. I couldn't believe this cat. When I saw him when I was in St. Louis, he was about 5'9", 5'10". I give him 5'10".
On a good day, right?
On a good day. But this Joker was lightning in a bottle. I couldn't believe I played with him on a video game. To actually see him in person, he lit us up, bro. He's the actual reason why they moved on to the NFC Championship game. He just went crazy. His scrambling ability, and obviously he can throw like a dart, but it was just amazing to see this individual be this athletic and be this familiar with the field and just go. Just go.
Yeah. Right. He's special, man.
Wow, that's crazy. And then he's going with the Barry Sanders over the Emmitt Smith, the Reggie Wright over the Bruce Smith. He said, I'm a California guy. He's going with the LA. So we appreciate you having some fun with us right there, Nick. Great job. Awesome. Great. Jimmy Rucker says, give him 3 for Sade and give him 3 for Salty Grit. He's giving away all the points. Jimmy giving away all the points. So
that's solid, Jimmy. That's solid, Jimmy.
We try to keep that blood pressure low.
That's salt.
Right. That's salt. Not too many people know about the Sade, man. I like the natural look. There's nothing wrong. I don't take no discredit from Janet, but there's something about the mysteriousnly of Sade that ultimately draws people in.
All right.
It's somebody woman that can sing you to sleep, ain't it? Just
right.
Beautiful. Leave it up to the guru, y'all. Leave it up to the guru. So great job right there. And we struck a chord. with the Sade. So we're on to our last segment of the show. That is the Q&A, having a good time. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it right around the corner from football season. So this is the last part. And Q, if you do have something, I'll ask something first, but if something comes to mind, keep me posted. And then if you guys are in the show live with us, and you have something that you want to ask Big Nick, you can put it right there in the comment section. The comment section is open. But I did have something that I wanted to ask you, Nick, because obviously I know the high school that you went to, St. Francis High School, and you actually even alluded to a little bit of a culture shock. And then Fresno, that can add a little bit of a shock on its own too. So for some of these young athletes, man, obviously, I work with athletes. They're all going off to college right now. And some of them are in training camp. So they haven't even hit school yet in the campus, and they might not have that culture shock yet. But can you give us some tips from maybe that young man from St. Louis, that young man from Houston, that young man from East Palo Alto, that's now at a Cal Berkeley. Now he's at a Northwestern. How do you deal with adjusting to that type of environment?
I just say appreciate where you came from. Give yourself a chance to get adjusted to the entirety of what college brings. On your day off, go experience the culture of college, the free speech area, the cafeteria, the library. just give yourself a chance on your day off just to go, just embrace what a normal college life looks like, because you're someone isolated from the majority of the college students because you play sports. And you don't get to see that other aspect of a college life. Maybe on a Monday morning or Tuesday afternoon when your classes are staggered, give yourself a chance to go experience what that looks like. I'm not saying go crazy, right, but just go explore, go venture out, go ask questions, go talk to different people, trying to network, go to your the deans or your school that you majored in and see what they have to offer. And so, because if you only limit yourself to what you know as far as your athletic career, you kind of miss out on the majority of the student life, and you don't really get to connect with the other students on campus.
Q, was that an easy adjustment for you, man? I mean, obviously you were in St. Louis and most of your teammates look like you. Now you're in Lawrence, Kansas. Was that an easy fix for you? I mean, you're a charismatic, handsome guy, so maybe it was easy, or was it hard?
I mean, here's the thing. It wasn't. The reason it was a little bit different for me and it wasn't as hard is because one of my high school teammates was already there. So when I got there, even though he was a year older than me, that was my roommate. So he helped me adjust a ton. So that's one thing, coming in as a freshman and you already have someone from your, even if it's not from your immediate high school, but from your same city, that's gonna help as well. One thing I will say that I can agree with what you were saying is, and I say this all the time as well, is when you're a student athlete, don't be afraid to expand out and expand your circle outside of the squad, man. You know, you'd be surprised the people that you come across. You know, whether you're, if you're majoring in business, then mingle with kids, that are in your same major. Those will be people possibly that could end up being lawyers when you're after your career, after your collegiate or professional career, where you all will link back up and make a phone call. And, if you need a favor or, a business collaboration or whatever the case may be. So we get in the habit of that, of just keeping our circle tight within only hanging around people on the squad. Don't do that. Expand your circle out as big as you possibly can.
Do you feel like you did that when you were at Kansas, or you wish you would have done that more?
I wish I would have done it way more. I did, but not to the extent that I could have.
How about you, Nick? Do you feel like you stepped outside of the locker room and the fellas as much as you should have, or do you feel like you should have more at Fresno?
I think early in my career, I didn't. And once I became a junior and senior, I ventured out a little bit more because I became more familiarized with the campus and I feel more comfortable with my role within the team. But like my man mentioned, I wish I would have done it earlier, just to embrace what college actually looked like and the field and the culture and what everybody else was involved in, instead of just being isolated within my core crew of my teammates.
Great point right there. All right, you guys. Well, hey. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, so St. Louis, man. When I went because I lived there for a couple of years, man. Was you a skater? Did you know how to skate? Because I was in the skating rink all the time learning.
Oh yeah, we skate. Oh yeah. People think it's just like Chicago thing. Oh yeah, we skate. Right. Yeah, we skate in St. Louis for sure. That's a good question though.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Well, hey, we appreciate you. Obviously, as always, giving great insight. I know you do a lot on social media, just trying to give back and give people great advice. Where's the best place for people to find you, Nick?
My Instagram is my name, Nicholas Burley 1, and Twitter at 24HourLifeNB. You can follow me, hit me up for questions or just to get an embrace or inspiring word. I'm more than willing to share some insight, man, because that's what we all here for, man. If the information that I have is not useful to somebody else, how can we all grow? So
facts.
There you go.
Good point.
There you go. Well, hey, appreciate you coming in, boss, and much love, and good to see you doing well, and we'll have you back on. Stay up.
Thank you.
For sure.
All right. So there you go. That is the great Nick Burley, you guys. And once again, hell of a player, Q. A menace on the defensive line, about 6'5", 255, 265.
Problem.
And problem. Had a motor, so he ain't giving up. you know, and I had to play against him in high school, and we didn't have nobody blocking him. So I probably took a couple shots in the back from Nick, but you know, once again, man, bringing in people from the industry that want to give back, and that's what we all about. I see some of the people coming in. Great show. Wife group joining in. Thank you for that. And then another great show from the great Jimmy Rucker. And we are literally right there, you guys. I'm talking to kids daily, Q, that are in it, man. They're in training camp right now, trying to win a job or trying to solidify a job, man.
Right.
You remember those days, right?
Hey, man. Hey, I'm telling you, 150
training camp. It's time to go to camp.
I'm telling you, and man, like you said, you either trying to win a job or trying to keep a job. You know, that's as flat out how it is. You know, that's where you separate the boys from the men in camp, man. That's where it's done right there.
And you know, some of you guys have worked your tails off this off season. Some of you haven't, and that's going to show too. But some of you guys, and I know the kids we work with, the young men we work with have worked your butts off, man. So wishing you guys the best of luck. Definitely stay healthy, stay mentally patient and humble, and also stay ready. Stay ready, because you might not be number one today. You might not be number one game one. You know, that Colorado TCU game, you might not be number one, but like you said, game 4. It might be put up or shut up. So, Q, anything for the good people before we get out of here?
Hey, like I said last week, as Coach just said, stay healthy, make plays, make sure you get ready for school. When school starts, your coaches will be checking, be the class on time, and actually show up, right?
Don't shoot yourself in the foot.
Because it's a two-way job, right? Yeah. You got to go to class and get the class and make your grades too. So make sure you get that done as well.
You guys heard how you need to handle the social life. So, hey, it's here, baby. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you at the top, and we'll see you next week. Got another great guest for you. Have a good one.